best in the world until they landed.
Ow! I could take them.
In her part of the world.
A girl.
They're showing her the rules of the game.
You teach us ninja, and we'll teach you baseball.
And she's showing them the way of the ninjas. 3 Ninjas Kick Back, rated PG.
But TriStar really wanted to make a new Karate Kid series, didn't they? I mean, they took this from Disney. Disney didn't even want to make a sequel to this. And they tried to make their own... Well, I guess they kind of worked, because they did make sequels after this movie came out. They went direct-to-video because this movie was not successful. And honestly, it was absolutely pointless. I mean, the first movie was tolerable for what it was, but to say that it's one of those movies that defined the 90s and have a lasting impact enough to have a sequel, I just don't see it. And I don't think a lot of people really saw it either, because nobody went to go see this movie. It actually got lesser reviews than the first movie did, and nobody ever really talks about it, and that's probably for good reason, because the movie's not really all that damn good. It's a movie that is just there, it just exists. Like, it's a movie that's there to try to start a new series, start a new franchise, and I guess it kind of worked, but only because I guess they think 3 Ninjas is such a popular name that people will go out and see it, but not the case. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on that one. 3 Ninjas Kick Back. So let's move on to the next movie, and that is Dana Carvey starring in Clean Slate.
Your name is M.L. Pogue. Whenever you go to sleep, you lose your memory. Whatever you do, don't panic.
Imagine every morning you wake up, you can't remember who you are.
Your name is M.L. Pogue.
Will you kiss me?
Who your loved ones are.
Rusty.
Or for that matter, who the hell any of these people are.
Seen all your faces here today, John and Susan and Mary and Fred and Ethel and Little Ricky and...
Now, Detective M.L. Pogue has to figure out what's up with his friends.
How's Dolby doing?
Oh, he's, great.
Really? I heard he was shot.
Except for that, yeah.
What's wrong with his dog? Who he's in love with.
The woman sleeping next to you, her name is Sarah Novak.
Damn it.
I think you're in love with her.
And exactly why he's a wanted man.
Don't move.
All right, zip up. Dana Carvey.
Are you sure you got the right person here?
Valeria Golino.
But I didn't mean to get you into this. Can you forgive me?
Sure.
Who are you? In the story of a detective.
We made it after all. This is the path we took. We started here. Then we went here, down here, over here, and ended up here.
Who doesn't have a clue.
What are you doing here?
11:30. On the dot. Ready?
For what?
Clean slate.
What is this?
Oh, that's what those were. Thank you.
A truly unforgettable comedy.
According to this movie's logic, dogs getting injured is funny, apparently. I mean, why is that a running gag in this movie? And it just perfectly sums up everything that's kind of wrong with this movie. You know, Dana Carvey has not had the best type of success is when he makes movies like this outside of Wayne's World. I guess Mike Myers is kind of the same thing, but at least Mike Myers has franchises that have been successful. The Austin Powers movies, the Shrek movies, but what's Dana Carvey had outside of Wayne's World? Opportunity Knocks, this movie, The Master of Disguise. I mean, Dana Carvey can be really funny, but man, he picks some really bad scripts to star in. And there's a good idea here, but just not a good execution. Everybody in this movie is kind of stupid. And the whole running gag about the dog, he's got like an eye patch and he's like always getting injured. Like, why is that funny? Why is that something that needs to be a running gag in a movie? But it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's trying way too hard to make you laugh. It's throwing whatever they can to the wall, and nothing is really sticking in the end. It's a movie that really wastes a lot of good talent, wastes a lot of potential with Dana Carvey as the star, and a pretty good premise that could work under the right script, but it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's really too stupid for its own good. It's a movie that's so stupid. Everybody in here is way too stupid to be in this, and it just doesn't work. It's a movie that's just a mess on so many levels. It's a movie that's easily forgettable, maybe quicker than what Dana Carvey has to go through every single day in this movie, So that's Clean Slate. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Robin Williams in Being Human.
No time to stop and think. What have I learned? Try to stay in control. It's not as easy as it sounds. Is it the same for everyone? We're all doing this to one another. This bickering and mocking. Shouldn't it be better than this? We're all in it together. Making the same mistakes. Getting into the same jams. Having lousy Fridays over and over and over and over.
For Hector,
Hector.
Dunya.
history has a way of repeating itself.
I used to know how to do this. I was really good at this.
He was a victim of circumstance.
You're my closest, my dearest slave. I'm asking you to die with me.
No. God, no.
A prisoner of love.
You must keep out of the way of temptation. You're not a sinning fella.
You want me to stay, don't you?
And a slave to fashion.
I'm asking for my freedom.
You really think you're gonna walk out of here?
I've got to go to my home.
Through all the ages he's lived, of all the people he's been,
Well, here he is, the invisible dad.
Want to go on the Ferris wheel?
This is sick.
How do you land these things?
the one thing he's discovered is that the best part of being alive is just being human.
I told you, Dad. This is as good as it gets. This might be the best moment of your life. How much better do you want it?
How much? From Bill Forsyth, the director of Local Hero, Robin Williams in the performance of several lifetimes. Being Human.
Boy, that someday everything happened.
Again, kind of like with Clean Slate, there is a good idea here. There's a really good premise to be told here. You got Robin Williams playing the same character in 5 different generations. Like, he's a caveman in one segment. He's someone from ancient Rome in another segment. He's a Scottish Crusader in another one. He's a Portuguese man in another incarnation. And he's a modern man in New York. And there are good ideas here, but just the execution of it just doesn't really work. I think this is one of those movies that really has a good idea, good ambition to it, but just wrong execution. I think the fact that the movie is deliberately slow in its pace could work if you had the right mindset to it, but it just doesn't work out in the way that I think they wanted it to work. And I think Warner Brothers themselves actually got into it. This might have been one of those movies with studio interference where they basically told the director, you got to trim 40 minutes from this, you got to add narration, you got to add a happy ending to it, because we don't want sad endings, apparently. Which is so not the case, but whatever. And look at the end result. It was a huge failure at the box office. It only made $5 million back from its $40 million budget. It's a movie that just wasn't in the right mindset. It was a movie that has good ideas, a good chance for Robin Williams to really expand his acting abilities, but it just didn't work in the end. It's a movie that really needed a fresher script, and maybe if we'd seen the original cut, maybe this stuff would have made a whole lot more sense, but we can't find that stuff out there, so we're stuck with the version that was released in theaters, and the version that's released in theaters is just not very good. It's not a very good film. It's one of Robin Williams' biggest disappointments as a leading actor, and he's had a couple of them, as we'll get into as the rest of the 90s goes on, but yeah, Being Human just wasn't the success I think they wanted it to be, so that's Being Human. So let's move on to the next movie, James Spader and Matchin' and Mick in Dream Lover.
A dream date.
I've never picked somebody up at a supermarket.
You didn't pick me up. We bumped into each other.
A storybook romance.
You think I could come up? I mean, just for 5 minutes?
It wouldn't take 5 minutes.
A picture-perfect marriage.
I still can't believe the most gorgeous creature I've ever seen. She chose me. You have it all. I do.
I never thought it would be possible for me to have such a normal life. Sissy? Aren't you Sissy? I'm Lena Mathers, now Lena Reardon, from Dayton, Ohio.
But between the lines,
I'm sorry. I just haven't felt very...
So,
beneath the surface,
Can I have your phone, something?
is your real name Sissy?
beyond the illusion,
You have a bruise on your leg.
What's wrong with you?
Ray Reardon is about to discover
You just have to be patient.
that every dream has its price.
The wife's visa bill came here instead of the house.
No, I'll ask her about it tonight.
Do you want to look it over?
Should I?
What bill?
But if the things that you tell me aren't true, then what is true?
I'm your wife.
Sometimes what you think is paranoia is actually heightened awareness. You recognize her?
Hope she's nothing to you.
She's my wife.
Sorry.
Who is it? You're a danger to your wife. We can have you committed for 72 hours. Why weren't you more careful?
I do you, you do me.
She stole my house, and she stole my children.
I always knew you were abusive.
This is my life we're talking about.
Take it away.
James Spader,
You're a psychopath.
Machen Amick,
Probably.
Dream Lover.
I mean, I've heard Siskel and Ebert talk about how much they like this movie, but when I actually saw the movie later on down the road, I didn't really think there was a whole lot there that really was all that exciting. In fact, you know, quite honestly, I think you can kind of predict everything that's going to happen in this movie. It's one of those movies where, you know, you got two really good actors in here, James Spader, Machen Amick. They're very good actresses. They're actors. They play off each other very well. Their chemistry is very good. But the mystery aspect is really what kills it because, like I said, you could pretty much figure out everything that's going to happen in this movie. It feels like a Lifetime movie of the week. And this was intended to be released on a big screen, and I honestly don't think that they really thought about actually making this stand out on its own. They just wanted to get these two leading actors as the stars and just sell it off of that. Who cares how weak the mystery is? And they're not even hiding the fact that the mystery is very weak in here. Like I said, it's pretty much a given that you can pretty much tell how this is going to end up, and it just doesn't work. It's a movie that really just misses the mark big time, wastes some really good actors, and I don't know. I just don't think it worked for me. It may have worked for some people, but not for me personally. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and that's Entertainment 3.
Going through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard the knocked out jailbird sing that rock. Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again.
Toto? We're not in Kansas anymore.
If you're not too familiar with the That's Entertainment series, basically these are movies that basically show some of the greatest movie musical moments of all time, from the golden age of the movie musicals, like the 1930s, the 40s, the 50s. And they actually did another film in the 80s called That's Dancing, which is basically showing off classic dance movie moments from like different films from not just back then, but also of the 70s and 80s. These are movies that usually we've seen a lot of these type of movies in the past, like stuff like Terror in the Aisles, where they take clips from various movies and put them together into one movie, just basically to show off great movie moments. I know there's another one, It Came From Hollywood, which looked at like 50s sci-fi movies and stuff like this. Well, with this movie in particular, to try to get people to come into it, they actually added in some stuff that was not included in other movies. Like this is stuff that was cut from MGM musicals. I think there's alternate versions of different things. There's scenes that were entirely cut out, like Debbie Reynolds singing "You Are My Lucky Star" from Singing in the Rain. There's a lot of stuff with Ava Gardner, Elvis Presley, Lena Horne, Joan Crawford. A lot of moments that were cut from various movies all put into this particular film to kind of give it little bit of a boost over the other movies in the series, which the movies overall are a ton of fun to watch if you want to see some great movie musical moments. And I like the hook that they have in this particular movie, to see this footage that has been lost for several years was found, and they decided to put it into this movie to kind of bring people back into it. I thought it was an overall enjoyable film. I kind of wish we get to see more of these type of movies where you have like these movies that are basically clip movies, like kind of like, let's show off some great movie moments. I think you could do a lot with a lot of the movies that have come out over the last couple of decades. I think there's a lot there you could do with it. I just don't know if there would be a full-on audience for it. It would strictly be for movie lovers in particular. And for movie lovers like me, these movies are a ton of fun. I really recommend That's Entertainment 3 and most of the other That's Entertainment movies and That's Dancing. You can usually get them in like their own DVD and Blu-ray sets. Can't recommend it enough. It's a wonderful series of films. Definitely check it out if you want to see some great movie musical moments from the past. So That's Entertainment 3. Now let's move on to the last movie, and that is La Scotta.
Unspoken alliances have existed in Italy between church, state, business, and organized crime. Since 1992, investigations by a small group of courageous judges have led to indictments of 5 former prime ministers, over 100 members of parliament, along with cabinet ministers and many of the country's leading industrialists. As a reprisal to the indictments, a wave of terrorism and assassinations has rained down upon Italy. The primary targets of these attacks are the investigating magistrates and the bodyguards assigned to protect them.
Of course, La Scorta is Italian for the escort, and basically the premise of this is that a dedicated, tightly knit group of bodyguards take on additional duties while safeguarding an honest judge designated to investigate official corruption in Sicily. It's basically a crime thriller set in Sicily, Italy. That's all I pretty much know about this movie, because honestly, I have never seen this movie, and it's a movie that I think, it looks pretty good. It could be pretty interesting. I haven't heard a lot of people really say anything about it, but trailer definitely showed a lot of promise to it. There's a lot more dialogue in that trailer that I didn't get to show you, but yeah, definitely could be something interesting. Not something I'm going to rush out to see right away, but like I said, haven't seen it, can't really comment on it, but I can acknowledge that it came out this weekend, so there you go, The Escort.
Devil's night is upon us again. Throw a little party, start a bunch of fires, make a little profit.
Someone's dead. Can't come back, can we?
That's what I thought. Are you referring to anyone in particular?
My daddy used to say, every man's got a devil. You can't rest till you find him.
winked at me before he jumped out a 4th floor window like he had wings.
Crow is his link between the land of the living and the realm of the dead.
So I killed the crow.
Call, bang, I'm dead.
The devil's I felt how awful goodness. I felt how awful goodness.
So something that you'll notice on here that I didn't notice until I looked at the credits, Al Franken of Saturday Night Live co-wrote this movie, and I thought that was pretty interesting because I've seen this movie before, and I never put it together that he was one of the co-writers on this movie. And like I said, I've seen this movie before, and I gotta say, the movie is a really solid film. It's a movie about this couple who has this great life. Their family life is going good, and then Meg Ryan's character ends up going back into getting back into alcoholism, and she's had this drinking problem for the longest time, and she's been able to keep it from disrupting her family. But then it comes to the point where it comes back in, and so the movie becomes kind of this thing of how do you keep this family together while also trying to keep these deep things going on in your life from ruining it. And it's a pretty good movie. It's a movie that easily could have gone into predictable territory, cliche territory, but it really doesn't do that. It's a movie that really does work all the way through. I think Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan are great playing the couple in this, and the family that they have is very good. A lot of great performances overall in here. You got them, Lauren Tom, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ellen Burstyn's also in the movie. It's a really good movie. It's a really well-made film. It doesn't when the emotional moments happen in this movie, they are very well earned. They aren't moments that feel like they're being manipulated on you. They aren't moments that feel like they're being forced onto you, it's like to get something out of you. They all feel very genuine, and it does feel very good to see a movie like this if you're going through a lot of the same issues that the characters are going through in this movie. It's a very well-made film. Fantastic film overall. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the big surprises that I ever saw in terms of these movies from back in the past. It's a movie that really is very well enjoyable. I can't recommend it enough. When a Man Loves a Woman, go check it out. So, with that said, now let's move on to the next movie, and that is Spike Lee's Crooklyn.
Hey! It's 1 o'clock in the morning. People are trying to have sex up here.
What if you found an extraordinary love?
My wife is the most amazing woman. She's got 600 different kinds of smiles. And they can light you up. They can make you laugh out loud. And they can make you cry just like that.
That grew into a beautiful family.
This is you. Not inside the dress, inside the body. How did I get in there?
That's a whole other set of videos.
What if it was better than you ever dreamed it could be?
Hey, am I gonna like this?
And what if it wasn't as perfect as it seemed?
We should do this much more often because we can afford this.
Not unless they comp the drinks.
What's that supposed to mean?
Bringing you out at the end of an evening is not as fun as it used to be. What happened?
I looked for a drink.
Thought you quit.
I did. You don't know what I go through. You don't have a clue.
How come we haven't talked about this?
How come we haven't talked about a lot of things?
What I do now?
You think this is about you?
My wife hurts. I need to say, what's wrong, honey?
Michael, I am just hanging on here.
What's wrong with our home? Is it the couch? Is it the area around who could possibly be me?
It's not your problem.
No, it's not my problem. It's just my fault.
I am not your problem to solve.
What would you do?
I messed up, baby. But I'm fighting my way back.
And what would you give to get it back?
I tried everything. I'm so scared that you don't know how much I love you.
Touchstone Pictures presents Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan.
I love you.
When a Man Loves a Woman.
So something that you'll notice on here that I didn't notice until I looked at the credits, Al Franken of Saturday Night Live co-wrote this movie, and I thought that was pretty interesting because I've seen this movie before, and I never put it together that he was one of the co-writers on this movie. And like I said, I've seen this movie before, and I gotta say, the movie is a really solid film. It's a movie about this couple who has this great life, their family life is going good, and then Meg Ryan's character ends up going back into getting back into alcoholism, and she's had this drinking problem for the longest time, and she's been able to keep it from disrupting her family, but then it comes to the point where it comes back in, and so the movie becomes kind of this thing of how do you keep this family together while also trying to keep these deep things going on in your life from ruining it. And it's a pretty good movie. It's a movie that easily could have gone into predictable territory, cliche territory, but it really doesn't do that. It's a movie that really does work all the way through. I think Andy Garcia and Meg Ryan are great playing the couple in this, and the family that they have is very good. A lot of great performances overall in here. You got them, Lauren Tom, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ellen Burstyn's also in the movie. It's a really good movie. It's a really well-made film. It doesn't when the emotional moments happen in this movie, they are very well earned. They aren't moments that feel like they're being manipulated on you. They aren't moments that feel like they're being forced onto you, it's like to get something out of you. They all feel very genuine, and it does feel very good to see a movie like this if you're going through a lot of the same issues that the characters are going through in this movie. It's a very well-made film. Fantastic film overall. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the big surprises that I ever saw in terms of these movies from back in the past. It's a movie that really is very well enjoyable. I can't recommend it enough. When a Man Loves a Woman, go check it out. So, with that said, now let's move on to the next movie, and that is Spike Lee's Crooklyn.
Sorry, why? Sorry I called your mother. And you sorry about teasing me about being left back 3 times, about being on welfare, about me and my brothers having 3 different fathers? All right already, I said I was sorry.
This time, Spike Lee takes a whole new look at growing up in his old neighborhood.
Is the TV on? No! I'm crazy because I got 5 of y'all. Ow! That have run me stark raving mad.
Somebody left the toilet seat up. I almost fell in again.
Shut up, you flat-chested witch. Why I gotta eat this?
Black eyed peas have calcium.
All the calcium in the world ain't gonna make up for this nasty taste. Can I have some tricks? No, please. Said no, you idiot.
Give it up.
You know, Daddy doesn't want to fight and yell. All Daddy wants to do is play his music.
In a place called Crooklyn.
And stay off my shoe.
All it took to keep it together was a little love, peace, and soul. Alfre Woodard, Delroy Lindo, and introducing Zelda Harris.
That's what families fun. You gotta stick together, right?
Right.
Crooklyn, a Spike Lee joint.
As I've talked about before, I am a very big Spike Lee fan, and Crooklyn was one of his movies that I got to very late on. I heard a lot of mixed things about it, most notably that this was sort of the beginning of somewhat of a creative lull with Lee, after a lot of his first films turned out to be really good. I will agree that Crooklyn is kind of the lower end of these good, not great movies, but it's not a terrible movie by any means. It just doesn't really have a whole lot of story to tell. I think what really sticks out about this movie are the performances. I mean, you put Alfre Woodard and Delroy Lindo in anything, and they can usually up the quality of a movie big time. You got this young actress, Zelda Harris, who would later go on to star in The Babysitter's Club. She's very good in the movie, and then she later reteamed with Spike Lee again for He Got Game, which came out a few years later. The movie overall is very good. It's a good movie. It's an enjoyable film. There are a lot of elements to enjoy about it, largely in the performances. I think the story is a little too all over the place to fully appreciate the film's purpose, and like I said, it's not a terrible movie, but it's nowhere near up to the levels that Spike Lee had up to this point. I mean, he makes Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, Jungle Fever, these great movies that have stood the test of time, and this movie doesn't have that same lasting power, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. It's not one of Spike Lee's best movies I can recommend to people, but if you like his filmography, this is something that's good for a one-time watch. Maybe not something you'd want to watch over and over again, but I'm glad I saw it. I think it could have been a whole lot better, but as it is, it's perfectly fine for what it is. So, That's Crooklyn. Now let's move on to the next movie, which is, if I can get it right here, Paul Rodriguez starring in A Million to One.
Imagine.
Oranges!
One day, you're scraping to get by.
I got $1.60. No credito. Iki credit. Kakuna kukupe. Don't even ask. If I don't get a job, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
El Rento es duo.
And the next,
Oranges?
you've got $1 million in your pocket.
How many zeros in a million? 4?
6.
It's a million. How many L's in a million? 4?
2.
It's $1 million check.
I know. If it's real, I'll buy you lunch.
What would you do?
I'd buy myself the most incredible bike in the entire world.
How would it change your life?
Now, which one of you has the phones?
I have fun.
We all have fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Well, I'm very happy for you, but who has the moolah?
What?
What do you want more than anything else in the world?
A green card?
For Juan, it changed everything.
Come and get it, Juan.
What do you think? Should I or shouldn't I?
I think Mr. Lopez is a man of integrity.
Because the funniest thing about money
I show it to people and they give me things.
is how people react to it.
Mr. Lopez, I have my daughter. I want you to meet her. She's the world's best cook.
Half of that check is mine. Senor Lopez! Shouldn't you guys be getting ready to go to work?
What work? We're rich now.
Honestly, Paul Rodriguez is kind of a mixed bag for me. Sometimes he can be really funny, but most of the time I haven't seen him anything that made me say, this guy truly is a great, great talent, and this movie doesn't really help it either. I think the movie is trying its best to be a modern take of this Mark Twain story, The Million Pound Nose, what it was called, but I don't know. It feels a little too direct-to-video-ish for its own good. I'm actually surprised it actually got a theatrical release, because it really doesn't feel like a movie that should have gone to theaters. It looks like a movie that should have gone straight to video or on television. But, I mean, I can't say it's one of the worst things I've ever seen, but it's certainly not something I'm going to remember after watching it. So, that's A Million to One. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Widow's Peak.
It was a lovely little town.
Hello!
A town where ladies were happy with the lives they led.
Ladies, are you coming in, Ramsha?
Because most of their men were dead. Widow's Peak was a place of peace and quiet.
Mrs. Leigh say no getting morbid.
A friendly place where life was good. Until one day, a new widow came to town.
What brought a beautiful woman like you to maybe end up on Widow's Peak?
When we're better acquainted.
She wasn't old.
How ravishing she looks.
She wasn't shy.
I'll take that if you please. You've been naughty. Finally, let's go.
Kevin, get it.
And maybe she wasn't what they thought she was.
What's the secret about her, would you say?
Talking about her. About her not being what she pretends to be.
Between ourselves and these four walls, what did you do to her?
She started it.
What began as a quarrel is turning into a scandal.
What does she know? There's nothing.
She's up to murder.
Mia Farrow.
And look at the commotion I've walked into.
Joan Plowright.
Godfrey, stupid child, put the brakes on.
And Natasha Richardson.
Don't tell me you want a favor in return.
Nothing of a disgusting nature.
Widow's Peak. It's not a whodunit.
He said you could do more tricks than a conjurer.
It's a who did it. With whom?
Now, what did he mean by that?
Haven't really seen this one, so I can't really comment on it too much. But it looks like it could be. It looks like it could be pretty funny. It's a movie that feels like, kind of like has a Knives Out type of vibe to it. And like, it's not the typical type of comedy. It's one of those comedies where you got to really pay attention to what's going on to really understand a lot of the humor in there. And good cast overall: Mia Farrow, Joan Plowright, Natasha Richardson, Jim Broadbent, and I mean, could be decent, but it's not something I'm going to rush out to see right away. Just acknowledging that it came out this weekend. So, quick one on that one, Widow's Peak. Let's get on to the last movie, and that is Sissy Spacek in Trading Mom.
Did you ever make a wish? Did you ever have a dream? Imagine having the magic to make your wishes come true.
Mom, will you buy me a tent for my birthday? Oh, by the way, I'm going to the mall after school with Aaron.
No, you're not.
Now, guys, I love you to bits, but I'm sick and tired of this. If I come home tonight and this house is not clean, nobody is going out this weekend, and I mean it.
Don't you wish we had one of those mothers who did everything for you?
Now, with a little help from a magic friend,
Can you just do some magic to make people disappear?
they just might get what they want.
I feel good.
She's gone.
We're free. We can do whatever we want.
Now that she's gone,
Yippee!
their problems have just begun.
We want a new mother, not no mother.
And then you could go to the mommy market and pick out a new mother.
Welcome to the mommy market. We've got them all here.
Claire's mother can teach you how to take care of yourself.
She's taken.
Should they choose one with lots of money?
Well, we get to win, miss.
Oh, surely you did not expect us to take the bus.
No, he's my gunner.
Should they pick a mom who's full of energy?
She's awesome. She's everything we can want in a mother.
We are going camping today.
I gotta go number 2.
Leave.
Another movie kind of like A Million to One that feels like a direct-to-video movie blown up for the big screen, except in this case it's Sissy Spacek, who won an Oscar for Coal Miner's Daughter, and in the 14 years since then, this is what amounts to it on the big screen, I guess. But I don't know, just this idea, it could work under better writers, it could work under a better situation, but I don't know, making Sissy Spacek all the moms in this movie. It doesn't really amount to anything. She's not really that great of a person that can play multiple characters in one movie. I mean, she's a great actress, but you're asking her to play multiple characters in these different roles, and sometimes sometimes that can work, but other times it doesn't. This is one of those times where it doesn't really work. It's a movie that really is trying a little too hard. It's a little bit corny at times, and the jokes just aren't there. It's just not a funny movie whatsoever. It's a movie that's instantly forgettable. And by that trailer, you could definitely see why it's instantly forgettable. So, anyway, that's Trading Mom.
In an age when few men played by the rules,
You'll never cheat here again!
one man survived
Is this seat taken?
It is now.
by making his own.
I promise that I will lose for at least an hour.
Sounds good to me.
You did say you were going to lose for an hour.
I am a man of my word.
And his name was Maverick.
You always been gutless.
When it came to beating the odds,
Was that fast? I thought that was fast.
no man was better.
How can I possibly go on without my wallet?
Oh, don't get mad at me.
Until he met his match.
My name is Annabelle Bransford. I'll be taking the stage.
So am I. So am I.
This May 20th,
Well, I remember my first runaway stage.
Don't worry. Nothing to worry about. I got it all under control.
they're out to win the biggest prize of all.
Welcome to the first ever All Rivers Raw Poker Championship.
From the toughest competition of all, each other. Mel Gibson,
You called me son. Nothing.
I believe he calls you a gutless cow.
I did not say that. I was teasing. Teasing? I don't like being teased.
Jodie Foster,
See, there you go, being all likable again.
James Garner,
Woman suffering is not a funny thing. There are exceptions.
at a time when men lived for adventure.
Everybody's got a gun.
One man almost died for it.
Stop playing around and stop those horses.
Again and again
Whoa, Ollie, whoa.
and again.
However did you escape from those hostiles?
Maverick,
Such splendid similarities.
a Richard Donner film.
Now, from the looks of things, I'll have the lady come in with some more hot water.
Coming.
So you have Mel Gibson, of course, as Brett Maverick. Jodie Foster is also in there, and also James Garner, who played the original Brett Maverick in the TV series. But you also see Graham Greene, Alfred Molina, James Coburn, Dan Hedaya, Jeffrey Lewis, and a ton of cameos in this movie from different people. Not just people from different westerns, but like people who have worked with these other people before, like Richard Donner, Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, James Garner. I mean, Danny Glover shows up in here, pretty much doing his line from Lethal Weapon, "I'm too old for this shit." You have Hal Ketchum, Corey Feldman, Art LaFleur, just reading off this list here. Robert Fuller, Doug McClure, William Marshall, Margot Kidder's in this movie. There are cameos that were cut from the film, including Alice Cooper playing a town drunk, Linda Hunt playing a magician, Clint Walker playing a sheriff, people from the Maverick TV series. I keep trying to say Matlock, Maverick. Okay, but anyway, Maverick, of course. You have people from the original Maverick series in here as well. Bunch of country singers are also in here. You have Waylon Jennings, Reba McEntire has a cameo in here, Clint Black, Vince Gill. Just a ton of names overall, and that star power can usually destroy a movie when they're focusing too heavily on the cameos and all that, but in this type of a movie, it actually does work very well. A lot of the cameos are very funny. A lot of the cameos work because of what their intentions are, and it's intended to be that way. This movie's not meant to be taken seriously. It's a straightforward Western comedy that's very funny, very well made, and it works because of the chemistry of the three leads, Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, James Garner. And compared to some of the other Westerns that came out in 1994, you had, we looked at Paul Hogan's Lightning Jack, and then we had Wagons East with John Candy in it that came out later in the year. Those movies did not pan out well at all, but this movie in particular still holds up after all these years. It's still very funny, still very much an homage to the TV series. Even if you've never seen the original Maverick series, you can get invested in this movie pretty quickly, and you can still have a good time with it. It's a good, fun time all around. Like, everybody knows what they're doing. They're not making something that's supposed to be taken seriously whatsoever. They're making a good, fun Western movie, and considering what other Western adaptations have been like since then, like Wild Wild West, which was a massive misfire on so many levels, this one just holds up so much better. It's a movie that's great. One of Richard Donner's most underrated films, honestly. If you haven't seen Maverick, do yourself a favor. Definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed by it. So, that's Maverick. Let's move on to the second movie that came out this weekend, and that is Gus Van Sant's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues.
There have been many great drivers, but only one great passenger.
When I'm really moving, stopping car after car after car, moving so freely, so clearly, so delicately that even the sex maniacs and the cops can only blink and let me pass. How exciting.
The creators of Drugstore Cowboy and My Own Private Idaho now bring to the screen the extraordinary novel by Tom Robbins that enchanted a generation.
Grandiose, lyrical, erotic, and Girl Scout oriented.
Uma Thurman, Lorraine Bracco, Angie Dickinson, Pat Morita, Keanu Reeves, John Hurt, Rain Phoenix, Roseanne Arnold, Ed Begley Jr., Crispin Glover, Buck Henry, Carol Kane, Sean Young.
You know, for Gus Van Sant to come off of such critical commercial successes like Drugstore Cowboy and My Own Private Idaho, and then he has this movie come out, this is kind of the one that kind of dampened his rising star power as a director, and it was seen mostly as a large critical and commercial disaster. And, I mean, the trailer doesn't look like it's that bad. I think a lot of people were turned off by the way they create the enormously large thumbs for Uma Thurman's character in the movie, Sissy Hanksaw. And, yeah, it's very, very distracting. And then, like, you're watching some of these serious moments that are in this movie, and you just see Uma Thurman with these big thumbs that look like they were, like, made at the last minute. And it's just like, there's no way you could take that seriously at all. And that's really the problem with the movie, is that despite this really good cast, I think the story that this is based off of is kind of a little bit very much dated. Like, this book came out in the 1970s, and I would have thought they would have tried to at least adapt it for a modern time, but it doesn't really do a good job of doing that. It feels like something that they're just trying to take. They just took from the original source material and didn't try to modernize it, didn't try to update it in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think anybody in here is doing a bad job. I mean, I think, honestly, one of the more underrated performances in this movie came from Rain Phoenix, who plays Bonanza Jellybean, and actually has a couple of pretty good moments in the movie. And, like, a lot of the performances in here are not bad. They are pretty good for what they are. It's just the material that they're being given just really doesn't work. It's a film that really needed a lot more updates to keep it relevant for the time period. I will say one of the few things that actually does hold up with this movie is the soundtrack by Katie Lang. It actually is pretty good when you really listen to it overall, but the movie as a whole is a massive misfire, considering all the talent they have in there. I mean, you saw it in the trailer. Uma Thurman, Wayne Bracco, Angie Dickinson, Pat Morita, Keanu Reeves, John Hurt, Rain Phoenix, Roseanne, Ed Begley Jr., Crispin Glover, Buck Henry, Carol Kane, Sean Young, Heather Graham is also in here, Udo Kier is also in here, Lynn Shay, Edward James Olmos. Just a huge cast overall, but just a real missed opportunity here. It's a shame, too, because this director has made some great movies, and this is the first one that's really one of his biggest misfires. And wouldn't be his last one in the 90s. We'll get to that one later on down the road, but even Cowgirls Get the Blues, a massive misfire, a massive disappointment on so many levels.
You are about to embark on an extraordinary journey, a voyage to the very dawn of civilization, to a place called Bedrock.
Hey, the K vacuum forecast for tonight calls for light seismic activity and a 20% chance of meteor shower.
Where human society as we know it was born. It was home to modern Stone Age man. Home to the Flintstones. This summer, from Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment, Rick Moranis, Elizabeth Perkins, Rosie O'Donnell, Kyle MacLachlan, Halle Berry, Jonathan Winters, the BC-52s, and Elizabeth Taylor.
Fred Flintstone, you've arrived. I'm only one man. Not from the back.
It doesn't get any better than this. Steven Spielberg presents The Flintstones. Directed by Brian Levant.
So the Flintstones movie was one of those many Hanna-Barbera projects that were in development hell for several years. This actually started production back in 1985 and actually had Joel Silver as the producer on it, and they were actually going to do it with a script by Stephen E. D'Souza, who you would know from the Die Hard movies. Also wrote and directed Street Fighter, and it was going to be directed by Richard Donner, but that never came to be as the film kind of went into production hell after that. They got many different writers on here. In fact, when they finally put this movie together, they actually got so many writers involved into this that they dubbed them the Flintstone 8, and there's like a ton of different writers on here, and there's people like notable names like David Silverman from The Simpsons, Steven Sustarix, who you probably don't know by name, but you know his work. He directed Wayne's World 2. Nancy Steen, Neil Thompson, Brian Levant. There's some other names all throughout this, including David Richardson, someone else from The Simpsons. Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel from City Slickers also worked on it. There were just so many different writers on here that when they actually put the first teaser poster out for it, they couldn't even put all the names of the people that were involved in the final product. They actually had to put a number of different names, and I've got the proof of that right here. So there's the nice-looking Flintstones poster. It's a really good-looking teaser poster from... I'm on the IMP Awards website. If you want to look for some great archival movie posters, this is the place to go to. There's their thing right there. But, yeah, this was the teaser poster, and look at all the names that are there on the bottom. So you got Michael Wilson, the director, Brian Levant, Al Ideekman, Sidney Beagle, Lloyd Garver, David Silverman, Steven Starsik, Nancy Steen, Neil Thompson. All these names are on here, but when the final poster actually came out, if I can just go to there, yeah, they cut it down to just 4 different writers. Actually, 3 different writers. What am I saying? Tom Parker, Jim Nguyen, and Stephen E. D'Souza. So yeah, all those people that worked on that the script for this didn't even get credited on here. It was mostly the 3 people here who got named for the writing of the script for this movie. But on top of that, there was also different casting all throughout the years. John Candy, Jim Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Chevy Chase were all considered for Fred Flintstone at some point. They basically were described as too skinny, and a fat suit would be deemed too inappropriate for this, so they ended up getting John Goodman, who had worked with Spielberg before on the film Always, which wasn't really his best movie, but, I mean, he was okay in it, but, yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of interesting casting choices they had here. Like, Wilma was going to be either Gina Davis, Faith Ford, Catherine O'Hara, of course, the mom from Home Alone. Danny DeVito was originally the first choice for Barney, but I don't know. I mean, Danny DeVito, he's a great actor, but he couldn't fit that role. Neither could he fit the role of Fred Flintstone, which he was also involved in. But, I mean, after all these years, I mean, he would still make a great Spacely if they ever make the live-action Jetsons movie, which I don't know if they'll ever do, but, eventually Rick Moranis got the part, and then Janine Turner from Northern Exposure and Cliffhanger was going to be Betty Rubble, but then Rosie O'Donnell won it over. And there was a lot of controversy about that, mostly because they thought Rosie O'Donnell, Betty Rubble, I think a lot of people thought they were trying to make Betty Rubble look unattractive, but I don't know. I mean, I thought she played the part pretty well, and I think she and Elizabeth Perkins actually fit those roles a little bit better than a lot of people I think would have given them credit for. And especially considering who they were going to get to. Tracy Ullman, Daphne Zuniga were also considered, but they turned it down. Halle Berry plays Miss Stone in this, and yes, they were trying to get Sharon Stone to do this, and she was actually going to do it, but she had to turn it down because of scheduling conflicts. And just interesting casting all around for this particular movie, and the movie actually did really well. It was one of the big hits of the summer. Got panned by critics because I think a lot of them thought it was a little too... Like, they thought it was wasting the source material and production design on a mediocre script, but I don't know about that. I mean, I remember watching this movie a lot as a kid, and yeah, I'm not going to say it's a classic movie by any means, but you know what? I think they did a lot more right in this movie than they did wrong. I think this is a movie that's really mostly works because it does pay a lot of homage to the TV series, and it does pay a lot of homage to the lore of this series and the world and all that. Plus, I think it does go back a little bit to what the Flintstones was originally supposed to be. I mean, most people look at now as the Flintstones as kind of a kid's show, but it actually started off as an more adult animated series. I mean, I don't even need to show you the clips of them promoting cigarettes at the end of the show, Winston cigarettes and all that type of stuff. And I think that's what they were trying to do here. I don't think it works all the way through, but to say it's one of the worst movies of the year, to say it's one of the worst TV adaptations ever made, I mean, I don't think it is. Like, I mean, yeah, the story could have been a whole lot better. I think a lot of people can agree that the story is, there's just too much there. You got embezzlement, you got mother-in-law problems, office politics, extramarital affairs, you know, stuff like that, which, again, if they were trying to go back to what the original tone of the Flintstones was back then, before they eventually brought Pebbles and Bam Bam into it and made it more like a kid's show, then maybe there'd be a point to it, but I think it was just because there was just so many people involved with the script that there was no real way that this movie was really going to be an all-around instant classic. But, I mean, for the kids that grew up when the movie came out, myself included, I really enjoyed this movie for what it was. I think they did more right with this than they did wrong. Plus, when you consider that the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas came out 6 years later and was seen as a far less superior film, I think they did the best job that they could. Could they have done a whole lot better? Absolutely. I think there could have been another polished script around, but the effort is clearly there. I think these actors do fit these roles pretty well, and I think it is a very fun movie. There's still a lot of good moments in there, a lot of great moments reminiscent of the show itself, and it is a fun movie. I think it's a very, very fun film that really fits the mold of what you expect from a live-action Flintstones movie. And considering what other live-action Hanna-Barbera adaptations we've gotten since then, this still sticks out as probably one of the best ones, which really isn't saying a whole lot, but you know what? I still really enjoyed it. I still had a ton of fun with it. The Flintstones. Not a great movie, not a perfect movie, but ton of fun. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for, So that's the Flintstones. Now let's move on to the next movie, which is not very good. And if you've read my stuff for the longest time, you know that this is probably one of my least favorite movies of all time, and that is Eddie Murphy starring in Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Hello, my name's Axel Foley. I'm looking for...
Hello. Welcome to the Beverly Hills Police Department. To continue this message in English, press 1 pound. If you have homeless people on your lawn, press 2 star.
So what brings you to California, Axel? Vacation?
I'm looking for a killer. One, please. We got some evidence that points to one in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, Rufus Rabbit has gone berserk.
You got yourself in the middle of a federal investigation.
That guy killed a police officer. He killed a friend of mine.
You just keep him out of my face and out of my park.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a tremendous surprise for Mr. DeWall to have me standing right next to him right now. You know, right now I can feel his body tingling.
Bring that man down.
Code red on the spider.
Now, hold on tight. Axel?
Hey, officers, I want this man arrested.
I'm sure you can explain everything, or maybe you can't explain anything.
You're going back to Detroit.
You got to turn yourself in, man.
Why is it so hard for you all to see there's something bad going on at that park?
Kill him.
Right? I'm like dazzled by your new look. Look at your skin and your hair. And then finally you have black hash poopies, which are totally retro, which I love. You put a really good package together.
Now that right there is the trailer that you probably are most familiar with when you think of Beverly Hills Cop 3, but a lot of people forget that there was a teaser trailer that came out before this one did, which I think is a lot better. It's hard to find on YouTube. I was able to find it. Check it out and you'll see what I mean.
Some guy. What should I do? Kill him.
Oh, how you doing? Is this the illegal chop shop? Hello, my name's Axel Foley. I'm looking for...
Hello. Welcome to the Beverly Hills Police Department. To continue this message in English, press 1 pound. For Spanish, press 2 star. For Farsi, press 3 pound.
You know, you should have your tailor cut the jacket a little wider than chest. That way your gun won't bulge in the back.
You said they had no guns.
They must have changed their worldview.
Go! I don't believe this, Ahmed! Buddy, how you doing?
Surge, right?
Sail. And look at your head.
Yeah.
I love it short.
Yes, sir.
Turn around.
Would you
Turn around. I love it.
Yeah.
Everything, the whole look, except the shoes.
I mean, doesn't that seem like a much better trailer than the one that we got afterwards? I mean, it's interesting that you see different line readings of various scenes, even though the scenes in each trailer are very similar to one another. It's like the movie couldn't decide which one it wants to go with, when they eventually put the thing together at the end, they just went with whatever new material they came up with, or old material. We don't really know, but as I talked about before, this is well up there as one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I mean, when I did my top 30 least favorite movies of all time, this was like at the start of it, like around 29, I believe. But this series really took a downfall after the first movie. Like, the second movie wasn't great, but it's certainly way better than anything that's in this movie. I mean, just the potential they had here. You got Eddie Murphy working with John Landis again after he did Trading Places and Coming to America. Some decent, funny moments. You bring back a lot of the old characters. You got Alan Young in here showing up as the central character, Scrooge McDuck. I mean, how could you possibly go wrong? And then the film comes out. You get a lot of unfunny jokes, action scenes that are so poorly done, a lot of continuity errors, and one of the stupidest endings ever. Like, turning Axel Foley into a cartoon fox. Like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know why they had to bring in kind of a... not go all around family film aspect, because it is still rated R, but you just know that this was not how they wanted this to turn out. I mean, for many years now, Eddie Murphy's been trying to get a new Beverly Hills Cop movie made to get this series back on track, and honestly, he should. I mean, there's been attempts. There's been a CBS pilot that they were going to do with the dude from Tropic Thunder, Brandon. Is it Brandon T. Jackson? He was also in Percy Jackson. He was in Big Mama's House, the third one, the one that you shouldn't see. But I mean, it's still Eddie Murphy. The guy still can be really funny, and he's proven in the last couple of years he can still be a great actor. Go watch Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix. I mean, fantastic film that Eddie Murphy should have gotten an Oscar nomination for at least. But I did hear that they're doing another Beverly Hills Cop film, this time with the guys from Bad Boys for Life. And Bad Boys for Life was a great movie. It was actually one of the best sequels I've seen in a long, long time. And, you know, my thing about sequels that come after a long period of time, if you get these guys to do it, they can actually make it work. So apparently it's happening. It's going to be on Netflix. Hopefully it'll be good. But, man, Beverly Hills Cop 3 fails compared to what the first two movies were, is that, much like with Blues Brothers 2000, which is another terrible sequel to an 80s movie that came out well after its time, you get the sense the film was trying to sell this movie to more younger audiences than to the adults. Like I said, it still has an R rating, but really, take some of the bloodier action sequences in this, and there's a surprising amount of them. You basically have something on a PG-13 level, and for Beverly Hills Cop, you can't really do that. It failed because the people who worked on this felt like they didn't want to do it. There's reports out there that Eddie Murphy was in such a state of depression that when he decided to do this, he had publicly came out against it, basically saying it was atrocious, it was a disgrace that the character was kind of banished from Hollywood for a while, and he felt that the third film did not reveal enough of the edginess of Axel that was presented in the first two movies. And he's right, it's not in here in this movie. And like I said, he wants to bring this character back, and hopefully with this new fourth film that comes out, hopefully by pretty soon, maybe he can finally get back on track. But man, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not what you should be getting from a Beverly Hills Cop sequel. It's a movie that lacks the comedy, it lacks the heart, it lacks the action, it lacks the good storytelling, it lacks Eddie Murphy's wit and edge to the character. It's a threequel that feels like nothing but a bad cash grab. It came out way after the zeitgeist of the original films was gone, and it sucks. It's plain and simple, it just sucks. It's a movie that's not funny, it's not enjoyable, it's a mess of a film. It was a film that was part of Eddie Murphy's slight downfall in the 90s, and you can definitely see why. It's a movie that just didn't work. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that one. Beverly Hills Cop 3, it's easily one of the worst movies I've ever seen. In my top 30, so. Let's end this on a much more positive note. Let's take a look at our last movie, and that is Bernardo Bertolucci's Little Buddha.
An ancient legend. An American family. A prince in search of truth. A master in quest of a miracle.
So you're here in Seattle to find someone?
Yes, we are looking for his reincarnation. But now we think he might have been reborn right here as your son.
Honey, I need a scotch.
So do I. Have they found him? Perhaps.
From acclaimed director Bernardo Bertolucci, creator of The Last Emperor, comes an extraordinary story about an incredible adventure. From the house next door to the rooftop of the world. A magical journey to the mystical place where past and present meet. Keanu Reeves, Bridget Fonda, and Chris Isaac in Bernardo Bertolucci's Little Buddha.
I'm so happy to have found you at last.
Well, it certainly doesn't have that same spark that made The Last Emperor such a great film. Bernardo Bertolucci actually makes a pretty good movie here. I think it's a movie that it definitely is much higher in comparison to the last movie he did, which was The Sheltering Sky, which was a huge misfire on a number of levels. But this movie's pretty good. I like seeing these performances by Bridget Fonda, Keanu Reeves, Chris Isaac, showing off that they can their range of acting in this. I think they do a pretty good job with the material given to them. It's a very interesting story. You're following these three kids who might be the reincarnation of this Buddhist monk's teacher, and they go to the places in Nepal, and they go through some of these beautiful looking shots that, again, don't have that same kind of epic feel that The Last Emperor did, because The Last Emperor had these amazing epic shots that just stick with you after all these years. This movie doesn't have quite as many of those epic shots, but it is still nicely shot. It's a beautifully made film. Some great acting, some good writing overall. It's a pretty decent film. It's one that I don't think a lot of people really talk about, but it is a very solid film. It's a film that has some nice messages. It has some really good acting all around. It's an underrated film. It's definitely one I would say definitely check it out if you can. Bernardo Bertolucci's Little Buddha. I'd highly recommend it.